It's the middle of a heat wave. You've been outside for hours. You're overheated, your skin's burning, and there it is, a lake, a river, a pool. Every cell in your body is screaming at you to jump in. So you do. And for a small number of people, in that exact moment, something starts happening that has nothing to do with how well they swim, how deep the water is, or how strong they are. It's a 4-stage process. Most people only know about the first stage. Almost nobody knows about the other 3, and the third one is the one that actually kills the most people. This is the complete story of what cold water really does to your body in order, and why the danger changes completely every few minutes you're in it. Most people think cold water kills you through hypothermia, your body slowly losing heat until it shuts down. That's real, but it takes a long time, 30 minutes, sometimes an hour or more. There's time to get out. The version that actually kills fastest isn't slow at all. It's not even stage 1 of what I'm about to walk you through. Stick with me, because by the end of this, the word hypothermia is going to be the least of your concerns. Stage 1 happens the instant cold water touches your skin, especially skin that's already hot. Your body triggers something called the cold shock response. First, an involuntary gasp, not a choice, a reflex in the same category as a knee jerk. If your head happens to be underwater when that gasp fires, you inhale water instead of air. That alone can drown a strong swimmer in seconds, in water they'd easily survive if they'd entered slowly. Right after the gasp comes rapid, uncontrollable hyperventilation. Your breathing rate can spike dramatically, and you lose the ability to hold your breath voluntarily, even briefly. Try to duck under a wave during this phase, and your body may simply refuse. At the same time, your blood vessels near the skin slam shut, vasoconstriction, pulling blood away from your arms, legs, and skin to protect your core. That's useful for staying warm. It's terrible for your heart, which now has to push blood through a much smaller network of vessels. Blood pressure spikes. Heart rate jumps sharply within seconds. For someone with an undiagnosed heart condition, that spike alone is sometimes enough. And here's the part that connects to something we've talked about before. If you've been in serious heat, the kind where your vessels are wide open, dilated, pushing blood to your skin to release heat, jumping straight into cold water forces your entire circulatory system to reverse itself instantly. That whiplash is far harder on your heart than either extreme on its own. Stage 1 peaks in the first minute and fades within a few minutes as your body adapts. This is why lifeguards don't ask, "Can you swim?" They ask, "Can you survive the first 60 seconds?" Strong swimmers drown in cold water constantly, not from exhaustion, but from that first gasp happening at exactly the wrong moment. But say you survive that first minute. Say the gasp doesn't get you, your heart holds up, you're still breathing. You might think you're in the clear. You are not even close. Because stage 2 doesn't care how well you handled stage 1. And it's the stage almost nobody has ever heard of. Somewhere between 3 and 30 minutes into cold water exposure, something happens that has nothing to do with your core temperature at all. Your muscles, specifically the ones in your arms, hands, and legs, start losing function. Not from cold reaching your core, from cold reaching them directly. Nerve conduction slows down in cold tissue. Muscle fibers contract less efficiently. Your grip strength can drop dramatically within just a few minutes of cold exposure. Enough that people who were swimming perfectly fine moments earlier suddenly can't grip a rope, can't pull themselves onto a boat, can't even keep their head above water using a stroke they've done 1,000 times. This is called cold incapacitation, or swim failure, and it is believed to be the single largest cause of cold water drowning deaths, more than hypothermia, more than the initial cold shock gasp. People aren't losing consciousness. They're not even that cold internally yet. Their muscles simply stop obeying them. Someone can be floating, fully conscious, fully aware they're in danger, and physically unable to perform the arm movements required to swim 20 feet to safety. This is also why flotation devices matter so much more than swimming ability in cold water. A life jacket doesn't require grip strength or coordinated muscle movement to keep your head above water. Your own arms at this stage might already be unreliable. So now you know 2 ways cold water can take you down before your core temperature has even dropped significantly. There's a third stage, and it's the one most people have actually heard of, but it's not what usually gets you. And then there's a fourth stage, one so counterintuitive that even some rescue teams have gotten it wrong. That one might be the strangest of all 4. Eventually, if someone is still in the water long enough, true hypothermia sets in. your core body temperature actually starts dropping. Shivering, confusion, slurred coordination, eventually loss of consciousness. This is the stage most people picture when they think about cold water danger. But by the time someone reaches full hypothermia in open water, stages 1 and 2 have usually already done the damage. Hypothermia is real and it does kill, but statistically, it's rarely the first domino to fall. It's usually the last stage reached by someone who already survived or didn't survive the first two. Here's the stage that surprises almost everyone, including some people trained in water rescue. It's called Circum-Rescue collapse, and it can happen during or immediately after someone is pulled from cold water, sometimes even after they're already safe. As a cold body is lifted from water, especially if lifted vertically, blood pressure can drop suddenly. Cold, oxygen-depleted blood that had been pooled in the limbs can also suddenly circulate back toward the heart. Both of these can trigger cardiac arrest in the minutes after rescue. A person can survive the entire ordeal in the water and still go into cardiac arrest on the boat or on the shore, appearing to have been saved. This is exactly why rescue protocols for cold water emphasize keeping a rescued person horizontal, not standing them up immediately, and continuing to monitor them closely even after they're out of the water and seem fine. Put all 4 stages together, and the people most at risk aren't who you'd expect. It's not just reckless cliff jumpers, though they're part of it. It's someone overheated from yard work jumping into a cold pool to cool off fast. It's someone finishing an intense workout, jumping into an ice bath without easing in. It's a swimmer entering a lake that's colder than expected, fast, with no moment to adjust. None of these people think of themselves as being in danger. That's exactly the problem. It was never about depth or rough water. It's the temperature difference and the speed of entry, through 4 separate stages, each capable of ending things on its own. The fix for stage 1 and 2, at least, isn't complicated, and that's almost the most frustrating part. Enter slowly. Wade in up to your waist, splash your chest and arms. Give your body 10 to 15 seconds to begin adjusting before submerging fully. That alone blunts most of the gasp reflex and the vasoconstriction spike, and it buys your muscles more time before cold incapacitation sets in. The same rule applies to ice baths after workouts. Ease in, don't jump. So back to that heat wave. That overheated body, that inviting stretch of cold water. The instinct to jump straight in isn't wrong because the water is dangerous. It's wrong because of what your own body does across 4 separate stages, starting in the first 10 seconds, and in rare cases, continuing even after you've already been pulled to safety. A reflex older than conscious thought, doing exactly what it was built to do, at exactly the worst possible moments. Next time it's brutally hot, and you're standing at the edge of cold water, now you know it's not 1 risk you're managing, it's 4. And easing in isn't caution. It's the only thing standing between you and all of them.